I am singing.
How's my connection? Is my connection okay? Is it okay?
It's fine right now. Yeah.
It's okay right now? Okay. All right. You guys, a couple things. One is you need to make sure that you put this podcast in your pocket or in your
Right
tool
here.
belt. If you're not able to watch us live every single morning, you should do that. You should subscribe to this podcast where you get your podcast and then put it right there, right here, or
Or like
feather in
right
your cat
here
or
in
like
your
back in your backpack, wherever you want to put us, you can do that.
Back
Also, you should visit 4patriots.com/chicks and see this week's discounts and deals before they're gone, because they're going to go, they're going to be gone. If you don't get on that.
Exciting that it's a new landing page, 4patriots. The number 4patriots.com/chicks.
And you can receive free shipping on orders over $97. You should do that. So 4patriots.com/chicks. Do it.
Somebody has already mentioned the fact that my name is Mackin Kelly after Megyn Kelly today. And yes, Victoria, the Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens Twitter war was off the hook. They were fighting. I don't even know where it ended, because I think they were still going by the time I went to bed. But man, they were fighting over a comment that Vivek made about the Harvard kids and not canceling them. Vivek is all like, they're just kids. They shouldn't be canceled for wishing people dead. That's fine. And so Candace and Megyn were on very different sides of that fight. Candace, of course, a huge Vivek supporter. So she was totally taking that side, and she was talking about how she was a rabid liberal in her 20s and look at how much she's changed and we need to give people grace, blah, blah, blah. And Megyn was like, grace is fine. It's not fine to literally condone the deaths of innocent people and wish for them. There's there's a line that's being crossed there. So it was.
And listen, at what point are you held responsible for stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, when do kids start being held responsible for crap? It's like, are we ever going to hold them responsible? I mean, this is the thing.
But at the same time, they're like, these kids should totally be allowed to decide to get their boobs chopped off. You know what I mean? Like,
when they're 13. Yeah. And then, but when they're it's like, so we're not going to hold college kids accountable for anything that they do or say. I don't know. I call BS on that. These are college kids.
Right.
It's so, personal responsibility. Take some, have some.
This is how they'll learn. If they don't get opportunities that they might have otherwise gotten because they have decided to be vocal and out and proud about their Jew hatred, then FAFO.
Really? They're literally going to get out in like 2 years and expect to make bank.
Yeah.
And live in the world with us. Some of them are going to be your bosses, right?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Have some responsibility for what you say.
Oh, that's a terrifying thought.
Right.
We also need to mention the fact that Suzanne Summers has died at the tender age of 76. I didn't realize that she'd been fighting breast cancer for like over 2 decades.
A long time. I didn't know that either. And I heard it in the car on the way back from a swim meet yesterday. And I was like, oh my gosh, for like 20 years she'd been fighting it.
Yeah.
I really liked her.
I
was sad about it. And it's just like our generation. And she was like, she played the ditz and she really wasn't a ditz, you guys. She
wasn't. And she died one day before she was going to turn 77.
Mm-hmm.
One day.
Her family had gathered together to celebrate her birthday. And then they ended up, just celebrating her life. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. So sad. Three's Company was one of the greatest shows of all time.
Know. That's another one. Is it John Ritter? Was that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Who played Jack? Yeah. He died too young too.
And forever ago. I mean, it's been forever. Is Janet still alive?
Yes, I think Janet. Is Janet still alive, you guys?
Joyce DeWitt, right? We need to do a life check on her.
I feel like Joyce DeWitt is still alive. I hope she's still alive.
Yeah, she is, and she's 74.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, we got to have at least one of them like still here, or I feel like that whole.
And Larry, I don't know the guy who played Larry. Remember Larry?
I do remember Larry. That whole show. It was just one giant sexual innuendo. Wasn't it?
Also a huge misunderstanding. Like every time.
Every single one. So great.
Oh
They
my
don't make
God.
shows like that anymore.
They really don't. It's just
No.
phenomenal. I
Mm-mm.
got a bot. I gotta get rid of a bot.
Get
Hang
rid
on,
of the
really.
bot.
Got rid of the bot.
Bye, bot.
All right. So let's see. We should also, since we're talking about the students and like learning from their mistakes, the
Mhm.
Harvard, all the groups of students who posted that horrific statement when the attack first happened the weekend before last, they have now deleted it. So if you go to the
Oh,
Harvard website and you look for that letter, it's gone. They're
that's
like, "Oh,
convenient.
we shouldn't maybe have
Like,
that said that
crap,
out
because
loud."
they may wanna get jobs one day. Wah, 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 wah.
What?
Luke.
Luke, hot Luke
Hot
is
Luke.
here. And man, if you're an insider, you got to see some Luke this
Uh-huh.
weekend.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm just
did.
saying, if you're not an insider yet, you're missing out on some Luke. Luke,
Mhm.
thank you. He said Suzanne made millions off the Thigh Master. Good morning, ladies.
Who had a thigh master raise their hand?
Did I tell you that I got hit in the face by a Thigh Master once?
Most people did. If you had a thigh master, you got hit in the face with a thigh master. You did.
No,
Uh-huh.
it was in our radio suite mate's office. Remember
Yes,
Terry had a Thigh Master and I
she
was like,
did.
I'm gonna try this. And I put it in it and it went ponk right into my
Yeah,
face.
this is what happened. They were very
They're
dangerous.
dangerous. They
Should
are
come with a
dangerous.
disclaimer. Mhm.
Leah, thank goodness Leah is here. She says, still here, still going strong. However, communities 40 minutes from me are being evacuated due to the Hezbollah threats. So it could get spicy here. Oh my gosh. Please stay safe, Leah,
Mhm.
and evacuate if you need to, because oh my God, I don't like hearing that at all. But
Mm-mm.
yeah, it's escalating very, very quickly. And it's hard to imagine a full on war not happening at this point. I want to believe that that Israel will keep this contained, but if Hezbollah gets in, it's on. You know,
Yeah, I kinda
it's going
feel
to
that
be
way
on.
too. Yeah.
All right, it's going to be a long show today. I can tell you that right now. There is a lot to get to since we've gone a whole weekend without chatting with you all. But first, we do want to remind everybody that if you have an itchy dog, if you have a dog that you have spent tons and tons and tons of money on because you've been told they have allergies or you've been told they have like a really hard to treat dermatitis, they're constantly itching, they smell. If you have those kinds of problems, please do yourself a favor. Try Coat Defense at coatdefense.com. This is preventative powder. So this is something that you just there we go. That you sprinkle on your dog's coat, you just rub it in there and within days, there are people who have spent hundreds of dollars at the vet to try to treat these dogs' skin conditions. They try this stuff, and within days, their dogs are better. And they're like, why am I only just now hearing about it? Well, we're getting the word out now. Save yourself money. Get your dog off the Apoquel or whatever other prescriptions you're spending tons of money on, and just try Coat Defense. They have shampoo, they have balm for open sores. They have balm for their little noses and their feet. They have the shampoo. They have the powder. It's amazing products. You can get 15% off when you use code CHICKS at checkout at coatdefense.com. Coatdefense.com. Try it. Especially if you spend a lot of money on because I mean,
Everybody
people
does,
spend
yeah.
so much money at the vet now.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
There is the constant question from people. And it's the timing feels really, really icky. But I also, if you are a human being and you care about other human beings, I understand the inclination that some people have to say, Israel is going to go and they're going to kill all these Palestinian civilians who never wanted anything to do with this war. And how can we justify killing all these innocent civilians? The question is, the timing of the question is just not okay. And we have a lot of conversation about that. Jake Tapper spoke with the Israeli ambassador to the UN and had that same question. And here is how that went.
They elected Hamas in 2007, which is 18 years ago, and Hamas has not allowed an election since then. Hamas is a terrorist organization. They rule with guns. They rule with terror. President Herzog said this week that it is, quote, an entire nation out there that's responsible. It's not true, this rhetoric about civilians not aware, not involved. It's absolutely not true. They could have risen up. They could have fought against that evil regime, which took over Gaza in a coup d'etat, murdering their family members who were in Fatah. You basically just insinuated something similar. And I guess my question is, if Hamas is a terrorist group, which it is, but if it is, then how can you hold all 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza responsible for what Hamas did? Don't you think that they rule by killing people who oppose them? I mean, how seriously can you hold? How seriously can you expect the Palestinian people, half of whom are kids, by the way, how seriously can you expect them to rise up if they are brutal murderers, which they are?
We do not expect them to rebel. We cannot decide for themselves how to live their life, but we are fighting for our life. We just lost 1,300 Israelis who were slaughtered and butchered and massacred. And like any other normal country, we have to ensure that such atrocities will not happen again. I feel sorry for many people in Gaza. Like I am sure that in Germany, in Nazi Germany, there were also Germans who were not involved. It's not about retaliation. It's not about revenge. We don't want to punish them. We just need to obliterate Hamas's terror capabilities. And sadly, there's no other way to do it. We will try again.
Somebody made the
go ahead.
Victoria made the comment, sorry, but this is war. And it is.
Right.
And I it's like I think, maybe the older generations understand that. A lot of people in the older generations, it sucks. Like there's collateral damage in war. It sounds so awful to say that out loud, but I think a lot of us understand that. It just sucks. You cannot save everybody.
But the question is always that when it comes to Israel, and it's never, why won't Hamas? Why are these same people just not demanding that Hamas release the hostages, surrender immediately? Then no one else would be hurt. But they won't do that, and that's never the argument. It's always people like, why is Israel being so mean? What the hell?
I totally 100% I agree, because that's all Hamas has to do. Just stop. Freaking stop.
Yeah.
And they won't.
This idea that there's supposed to be some sort of proportional response is something that Douglas Murray addressed so beautifully that it has to be shared. Check this out.
There is some deep perversion in Britain whenever Israel is involved in a conflict, and it is the word you just used, proportionate, proportionality. Only Britain is really obsessed with this. I've heard it for the last few days incessantly. Proportionality in conflict rarely exists. But if we were to decide that we should have this fetish about proportionality, then that would mean that in retaliation for what Hamas did in Israel on Saturday, Israel should try to locate a music festival in Gaza, for instance, and good luck with that, should try to find a music festival in Gaza and rape precisely the number of women that Hamas raped on Saturday. Kill precisely the number of young people that Hamas killed on Saturday. They should find a town of exactly the same size as a town like Sderot, where I've been many times myself, and make sure they go to door and kill precisely the correct number of babies that Hamas killed in Sderot on Saturday, and shoot in the head precisely the same number of old age pensioners as were shot in Sderot on Saturday, just to choose one town. Proportionality in conflict is a joke. And it's a very strange British concept which we've had, that only the Israelis in a conflict, when they are attacked, are expected to have precisely the proportionate response.
No, I'm going to challenge you on that, Douglas, because I do think when we had, the invasions of Afghanistan and of Iraq, a lot of people were discussing, Afghanistan had huge numbers of countries involved, Iraq less so, obviously, but there was still discussion about whether or not, with the number of civilian deaths, that this was proportionate to the threat as perceived by America, by other countries.
We didn't say that the death toll in Afghanistan had to be precisely the death toll, for instance, in the Twin Towers in New York. We didn't take that view. By the way, the always has to be said, the difference between the Western way of war and the Hamas terrorist way of war is that their objective is to kill civilians. The objective of Hamas is to kill innocent people. The objective in conflict of the United States, the United Kingdom, Israel and other civilized democracies is to kill as few innocent people as possible. It cannot be said enough that Israel tries to use the IDF to protect its citizenry. Hamas uses the citizenry to try to protect Hamas. Israel precisely uses precision-guided missiles in order to try to limit civilian casualties. But I have no doubt that after the atrocities of the last week, the appetite of the Israeli public and military and politicians to continue this precision game will, of course, change.
Yeah, we want to wipe out evil. They want to kill the innocent.
Right.
It's
why their leaders are off hanging out in Four Seasons hotels in Qatar, Qatar, or however you want to say that.
Mm-hmm. That was a beautiful way of putting all of that.
Right.
I mean, it was a great clip. Mm-hmm.
There is, I mean, that's the thing. There can be no proportionate response when you're dealing with a terrorist organization.
Right.
All Israel can do is root it out. And they're giving as much warning. They're giving as much help as they possibly can to the Palestinian citizens to GTFO of the areas that they are intending to strike.
Yeah, we've said that a million times. Like, who does this? They do. Yeah. They're like the only ones. Hamas isn't doing that. They're coming in on freaking parachutes and just like killing innocent people.
And they're grabbing, by the way, now 14-year-old boys to get them to fight. 14-year-old boys. Mm-hmm. And this is who governs Palestine. Israel, everybody is like, this is all a land war. Israel doesn't want Gaza. They want nothing to do with it. They simply don't want to be attacked by people in it. That's all. That's all that they're asking is we're blockading you because we don't want terrorists coming here to kill us. And actually the same is true for Egypt. And nobody's asking that question. Everybody's all like, why Israel's got to do this? The United States has to take refugees? Bullshit. Egypt or other Arab countries should take them. And,
but they don't want
nobody's talking about that. They don't want them.
Egypt doesn't want them.
And of course they don't.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody should be asking that question. Why doesn't
they don't want them? Because they know that they cannot vet who is a terrorist and who isn't.
Right.
Just like Israel.
Yeah. So why should we be over here raising our hands going, we'll take them?
We probably already have a bunch of them because of our freaking borders.
Of course, we already have a ton of them because of our wide ass open borders, because Biden is a complete disgrace. Of course, we have a ton of them. And this is the thing. It sucks. I mean, when Egypt is like, nah, we're good.
Right.
And we're like, and our border's so wide open that we already have them. You guys, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Huge problem.
Leah, thank you. Leah says the question is, how do we keep letting our people die for those who hate us? Would you sacrifice your child for a criminal who tries to kill you? Exactly. It's like everybody keeps asking the wrong questions when we're dealing with a terrorist organization. And who better to talk about what that terrorist organization is all about than one person who was actually in the terrorist organization. Here is a former Hamas member that you said was the son of a founder.
Yeah, I believe I read that on Twitter. I think that's correct. I'm pretty sure this guy is one of the sons of the founder, one of the founders of Hamas.
And he has some stuff to say. This was at the UN.
Shukran, Sayyid Rais. I take the floor on behalf of the UN Watch. My name is Mus'ab Hassan Youssef. I grew up in Ramallah as a member of Hamas. I address the words to the Palestinian Authority, which claims to be the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people. I ask, where does your legitimacy come from? The Palestinian people did not elect you, and they did not appoint you to represent them. You are self-appointed. Your accountability is not to your own people. This is evidenced by your own total violation for their human rights. In fact, the Palestinian individual and their human development is the least of your concerns. You kidnap Palestinian students from campus and torture them in your jails. You torture your political rivals. The suffering of the Palestinian people is the outcome of your selfish political interest. You are the greatest enemy of the Palestinian people. If Israel did not exist, you would have no one to blame. Take responsibility for the outcome of your own actions. You fan the flames of conflict to maintain your abusive power. Finally, you use this platform to mislead the international community, to mislead the Palestinian society, to believe that Israel is responsible for the problem you create. Thank you.
God protect this man indeed. Somebody
Oh,
said that.
damn.
Yeah. And I believe he's living in the United States. He's a Christian.
And so I was fighting with so many people on Twitter this weekend because I just cannot believe the lengths that people are going to minimize, to excuse, to rationalize, to question stuff that should not be questioned. When you hear it straight from somebody who was a member of Hamas saying, here's the shit we did.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you need to hear to actually believe it. And there's people on the right that are calling it Israeli propaganda. I mean,
Right.
my head was exploding
because
weekend.
they want to believe what they want to believe. You've learned. Listen, you learn a lot in situations like these about people.
Yeah.
Kind of like, listen, I hate to make the comparison, but it's kind of like during COVID. You learned a lot about people during COVID. And then in situations like these, you see people's true colors. I've seen a lot of anti-Semitism. I've seen it's crazy. You see it from conservatives. You see it from liberals. You see a lot from liberals. But you even see it from conservatives. You see it from a whole lot from libertarians.
Yeah, I unfollowed so many people. I begged people to unfollow us because I was just like, if you're one of those people who's using the excuse, we're just asking questions, fuck off. Like, that's not okay.
Right.
I mean, it's so gross. I'm sorry for my language.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
but the blatant anti-Semitism, I just can't stomach. I can't.
It's gross. It's so gross.
Yeah. And when you try to like make it something else, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm 52 years old. This ain't my first rodeo. I can see, I can see what that is, So you need to just run along now because I don't have time for that. Yeah.
Leah, thank you so much. Leah says, I can't tell you how happy I am that you ladies speak the truth. So many people get it wrong and not you. You are the best. Thank you, Leah. You're the best.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Colonel, there's an IDF spokesman, Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus, I think is how you say his name. He has been everywhere. I've seen him on so many different news stations over the last few days. And he, again, very eloquently addresses this question about, well, but what about the civilians? Here he is.
For the IDF, Israel's Defense Forces. Welcome. Let's get right to it. Is a ground invasion imminent?
We are definitely looking at all the options that we have at our disposal.
Okay, Israel has said Hamas is the enemy, not the Palestinians of Gaza. And they've been heeding warnings to leave the north, but most have no place to go. How are you going to avoid the deaths of innocent civilians?
Well, the reality of war, which is where we unfortunately find ourselves, a war that we did not want and did not initiate, is that if there are civilians in a battle zone, they may be affected. And again, we abide by the law of armed conflict. We do not want to target civilians. If they heed our warnings, the chances of survival are much, much better, and they don't have to go to Egypt. They'll be south of the Gaza River. Their chances of survival will be much better, and they won't be used by Hamas as human shields.
So what do you say to those who say, yes, Israel has a right to defend itself, and yes, there was a horrible massacre of innocent Israelis, but why make Palestinians suffer for what Hamas has done?
I would say first put a full stop in the end of the sentence without the but, and focus on the fact that Hamas has brought this upon Gaza after almost 20 years of governing the Gaza Strip, and that we did not want this war. We don't try to target the civilians. If we were trying to target them, then the situation would look totally different, and it isn't. This war was forced upon us, and we will end it by dismantling Hamas, which, by the way, I think will be a great service to Palestinians in Gaza because it will rid them of this oppressive, tyrannical regime that has been holding them hostage and impoverishing them and robbing them of a future.
Okay, thank you. Jonathan Conricus, spokesperson for the...
Why is this so freaking hard?
I don't know.
I mean, why?
I don't. It just makes my head hurt.
Right.
There's a video. I can't, even if I wanted to play it, I don't think YouTube would allow it. It is so unbelievably graphic. Anderson Cooper showed sort of just a full report of, because they had journalists that went out, CNN had journalists that went out to the site of the festival, and there was a shelter that like 35 of those festival goers crammed themselves into, and a Hamas terrorist threw a grenade into that shelter.
Jesus. Oh my God.
And they were packed in like sardines. So the carnage that resulted from that was, they had to blur a bunch of it out. But the way that Anderson Cooper was talking about it, like he was describing the smell and the sights and just how horrific it was. Well, the uncensored version is out there. And I posted it on Twitter where it's allowed to be seen. And it would never fly on YouTube. But if you have, people should not look away from it. It will haunt my dreams for the rest of my days. But if you can watch that and then question whether or not there was real blood on the floors in some of these other photos,
which is what some people are doing on our side of the aisle.
And there's people in here right now who are like, you should ask questions because it's propaganda, or you should ask questions. These are the same people that are like, well, yeah, they murdered babies, but I don't think they beheaded 40 of them. Do we really have evidence that they beheaded 40? These are those people. I have zero tolerance for those people.
Right.
And they are among us, unfortunately. It's
and these are the same people that are like, I want to see the pictures of the beheaded babies. And then when they produced the pictures of the beheaded and the burned babies, they were like, that's not good. That's AI.
Right.
That's AI. I don't believe it. That's AI. Let me tell you why I think that's AI. It's like, you're sick in the head, man. Like, I just can't. I can't with you. So these are the same people, and I just want no part of that. I don't.
I know. Same.
It's like do you want so badly to believe that like terrorism doesn't exist? Because it actually does, and it's coming to a country near you. And so when the shit hits the fan here, I can't help you. I can't be the person to hold your hand and go, hi, look, there it is. It's right there. Hi, there's the terrorist. He's right there.
It's not AI. It's not. It's real. It's right there.
Right. It's right there.
Bruce Wayne, thank you. Bruce says, F off, just in case you missed that.
Oh, that's right. She says that every once in a while. She's like a bunny. She's like a bunny with fangs, you guys.
Alexandra, thank you. She says, I heard Wall Street blacklisted students who are anti-Semitic, and I believe more companies are following suit. Yeah, they absolutely are. We talked about that earlier with the Harvard kids taking down their statement. I mean, this is the thing. When you F around, you find out. Stuart the Brit, thank you. He says, it always comes down to a simple question: which is good and which is evil? Which is human advancement and which is stuck in the past? Pick a lane. Exactly right, Stuart. Leah, thank you. Leah says, one more thing. Israel understands that our own people held hostage will probably also be severely affected while we go after Hamas. It is not only their civilians that we cry for. That's a great point. And Bruce Wayne, to clarify, he says, my comment was in complete agreement with Mock for those who don't get it. Oh my God. I know tensions are high, and I know that I am guilty of having the high tensions as well. Nikki Haley spoke about the fact that and it's a point that we made earlier, these other countries, nobody is talking about Egypt, Jordan, Syria. Nobody's talking about these other countries taking in people from Gaza. And these are their brothers. You know what I mean? Like if anybody should be taken in the refugees, it should be the surrounding Arab countries.
Meant to that. Yes, exactly.
And they're just like, those people are ick.
I don't want those stinky people in my house. No, it's like, why? Why? Yeah.
So Nikki Haley addressed that. I don't remember which show she was on, but here she is.
IDF. Dealing with. But I dealt with this at the United Nations. You're going to hear all of those Arab countries vilify Israel for what's about to happen. You're going to hear all of them say, how dare you not do more for the Palestinian people? And you know what? We should care about the Palestinian citizens, especially the innocent ones, because they didn't ask for this. But where are the Arab countries? Where are they? Where is Qatar? Where is Lebanon? Where is Jordan? Where is Egypt? Do you know we give Egypt over $1 billion a year? Why aren't they opening the gates? Why aren't they taking the Palestinians? You know why? Because they know they can't vet them, and they don't want Hamas in their neighborhood. So why would Israel want them in their neighborhood? So let's be honest with what's going on. The Arab countries aren't doing anything to help the Palestinians because they don't trust who is right, who is good, who is evil, and they don't want it in their country. So they're going to come and blame America. They're going to come and blame Israel, and don't fall for it. because they have the ability to fix all of this if they wanted to. They have the ability to go in and tell Hamas right now to stop what they're doing. They have the ability to tell Hamas to let those people out. But you know what? Qatar's going to continue to work with Hamas and their leadership. Iran's going to continue to fund all of this and not say anything. And who's silent? Every one of those Arab countries are going to be silent. But expect for the finger to point to Israel, and the finger's going to point to Israel, to America.
Yeah, and you know who else is silent? Our American leadership, saying we give you jackholes $1 billion a year. Why aren't you doing crap about this? You know, that's who else is silent. I mean, we can point fingers at them too, but we also have this dementia-ridden president in office right now who's saying jack squat. He's not saying anything to these people. I think it's disgusting that we give Egypt $1 billion a year. We give them $1 billion to do what? I mean, seriously, what are they doing with that money? Is there an accounting? Can I see that? I want to know what they're doing with that money. That's a lot of freaking money, you guys.
Well, Biden is at first, Israel was very, very pleased. They may still be with his strong speech that he came out with initially, but he's also doing the yes, but stuff. He's saying, yes, absolutely, Israel has the right to defend itself, but can you not do the ground invasion to Gaza? Because that might hurt some Palestinian citizens, some innocent people. Can you just ease up a little bit? It's always Israel who is always attacked and then asked to ease up. It never makes any sense to me why they're always the ones being demanded to just get attacked and deal with it. Like, what kind of sense does that make? And then meanwhile, we've got Biden also saying, well, we don't know for sure if Iran had a role to play in this. Iran is like, hi, we had a role. Hi, we helped. And Biden is like, there's just no direct evidence of that really at all. And so I don't know who this fellow is who is on ABC talking about how absurd it is to believe that Iran didn't have a huge role to play in this. Here he is.
From Lebanon, what will Iran do, and what will the U.S. have to do if they feel like they are getting pulled into this as well?
I just want to underscore that the comments from the Iranian government are an obscenity, because the notion that Iran has been a spectator in this crisis is an outrageous lie, because the Iranian government has sponsored, has financed. We have considerable credible reporting to suggest that they played an operational role in planning this atrocity. This is not just about Hamas. What Hamas did was egregious, was an outrage against any decent human being. But Iran has been deeply involved, not just with Hamas, with Hezbollah, with Palestine Islamic Jihad. They have been waging a war, not just on Israel, but on a number of other allies of the United States. They've demonstrated zero compunction about targeting Americans as well. So this is not new. They have not been a spectator. And I believe that the Biden administration needs to own up to some grave strategic and moral errors they've made in trying to de-escalate. Well, the Iranian government.
Remember the pallets of cash that Obama gave Iran? Iran. Yeah, remember the pallets? We used to talk about the pallets.
Yeah, the cash pallets.
Yeah, it's like, who does that? What? It's like, I want a pallet of cash. I've given so much cash to this government. It's like embarrassing. Okay, so it started with him. I mean, I'm sure it didn't start with him. We've probably been given Iran cash forever. But I just remember like being like, what? God, why? Yeah. Why are we giving these losers cash, our cash? And then just, the sanctions with them, with Biden. It's like, why can't we be tougher with these losers? I don't know why we can't do that. And he's still not being tough with them. But Biden's never been tough with anybody.
Right.
But we still can't be tough with these people. It's like, there's such a void of leadership when it comes to this stuff. And then they're being, mamby-pamby with Israel, which is not okay at this point. And Netanyahu is so great. I think he's just so graceful with us. He's graceful with all the presidents. I think he just appreciates support no matter how he gets it from America. But he's probably thinking, this guy sucks, he is.
He has invited Joe Biden to Israel. I don't know if that invitation will be accepted, but that invitation has been extended. It's the last clip that I have in the series is the biggest gaslighting you will ever see, and it's a reminder to all the people questioning whether Israel is like actually telling the truth or exaggerating what's happened or whatever. Those people are crazy. But if there are people out there that are doing that, they need to see what propaganda really looks like, and it comes in the form of the Hamas leader trying to say that them stealing hostages and killing innocent musical festival goers, they weren't trying to go for civilian targets, you guys. That was a military target.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just watch.
Escalation seems to be in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, to echo what Julie was saying, the Biden administration was...
Political Bureau. Now, Dr. Hamid denied Hamas received any outside support for its attack on Israel, including from Iran, which contradicts earlier statements to the BBC that it did.
Did you receive support from outside? Did you receive support from Iran?
No, it is just a decision taken by Hamas only.
You received no support from any country outside of Gaza?
No, never.
Now, he also denied Hamas fighters deliberately targeted civilians, saying their target was only the Israeli military and Israeli military infrastructure, something we, of course, challenged him on, given the vast amount of video evidence of Hamas fighters shooting at civilians in civilian areas. Now, as for why Hamas carried out such a brazen and brutal attack inside Israel, Dr. Hamid blames successive Israeli governments for refusing to end the now decades-long occupation of the Palestinian territories. He said Israel's current government, which is often described as extreme far-right, has pursued an agenda of such harsh and punitive measures against Palestinians, which is why he says Hamas carried out the devastating attack, an attack which, of course, has resulted in Gaza being bombed like never before, and a death toll there that already exceeds the 4 previous wars, something he blames squarely on Israel, but he would not take any responsibility for the Hamas attack being the trigger for this extraordinary violence. Now, when questioned about the dozens of hostages abducted by Hamas fighters and still being held captive inside Gaza, including some Americans, here's what he said.
Why don't you just release the people who are abducted?
Okay, we want first of all, we want to stop this daily death in Gaza, daily killing in Gaza. It is our priority now. Your priority should be how to stop killing, and this is genocide in Gaza. It is really genocide in Gaza.
I can't. What in the world?
Can you imagine?
We just want you guys to stop killing everybody in Gaza. Really?
Can you imagine interviewing a terrorist?
I
Can you
cannot.
imagine like interviewing just a disgusting, like evil terrorist? Of course he's not telling the truth.
I mean,
this guy is like the devil's, like he's the devil's right-hand man. I mean, seriously, why? Of course he's not telling the truth. He's lying. That's all he does is lie.
Don't believe your eyes.
Oh my God.
Just believe this guy sitting in the Four Seasons in Qatar.
Oh my God. That's insane.
This is probably a good time to remind everybody that there is no better time to think about making sure that your savings is protected, especially if you are getting close to nearing retirement and you're wondering what the hell is going to happen with the world. It's a good time to just branch out, right? And consider that when the dollar is weakening and we're going to be printing a whole bunch more money to fund all these wars, which is just going to weaken the dollar even further. Gold and other precious metals, that is when they constantly either retain or increase their value. You can learn all about the ins and outs of gold and precious metals and how to include them in your IRAs by just texting the word chicks to 989898. You're going to get a free information kit from Birch Gold. And there is nobody better at explaining it than the people at Birch Gold. It's why Ron Paul is a huge fan of theirs. Ben Shapiro's a huge fan of theirs. Check it out. Text the word chicks to 989898. I got some other thank yous to do. Michelle McCarver, thank you. She says, glad I get to start my birthday with the chicks. Wish the world was a better place. Thank you so much and happy birthday. Thank you, Mac1968. Appreciate that. And Christy, thank you. What role has Russia played in all of this? They have blood all over their hands.
Yeah.
I mean, Russia and China are
it's like they're ready to pounce. Yeah, they're totally, And that is why, when we say, oh, listen, people are like, oh, just get the facts, Seriously. Like, this isn't going to turn into some weird world conflict. I mean, I worry so much more, I think, about Russia and China than I do anything else. That's what I worry about. It's the long game, man. That's what I worry about.
Because right now China is looking at Taiwan like
salivating.
Hey,
they are salivating right now.
And meanwhile, because Biden has kept our border wide ass open, and we have they like apprehended Iranian and I think Lebanese people, of course, military age guys on the border this weekend. And so now it's to the point where the FBI has finally decided, hey, maybe we should stop paying attention to school board moms and focus on actual threats to national security.
Okay.
So he was speaking to, I believe, some police organizations, and says everybody, the police and then just regular citizens included, needed to be on high alert right now for lone wolves who are inspired by the Hamas attacks. Here's Christopher Wray.
In this heightened environment, there's no question we're seeing an increase in reported threats, and we've got to be on the lookout, especially for lone actors who may take inspiration from recent events to commit violence of their own. So I'd encourage you to stay vigilant, because as the first line of defense, protecting our communities, you're often the first to see the signs that someone may be mobilizing to violence. I'd also ask you to continue sharing any intelligence or observations you may have. And on our end, we're committed to doing the same so that together we can safeguard our communities.
You guys just let us know, because we haven't done our job for the past, 10 years. You guys
really
let us
busy
know
at
if
school
you see
board meetings.
something, because we're too busy looking at moms and dads at school board meetings. But you guys let us know if you see something. Yeah. Meanwhile, they haven't closed the border, which would be nice if they freaking did that. That would be something that they could maybe do, I don't know, a couple years ago.
Well, and because DeSantis so often seems to be ahead of issues and proactive about them, he is the first, perhaps there's others at this point, although I haven't heard, he's the first out of the GOP contenders to say outright, the U.S. should absolutely positively not accept a single solitary Palestinian refugee. I cannot believe this needs to be said out loud, but this is the messaging you're going to start hearing from people in the squad and from other bleeding hearts saying, we got to take these people in. It doesn't matter that Nikki Haley just said we can't vet them, but they're going to want to just bring people who probably aim to kill us.
And they're going to say it's racist. They're going to be like, that's a racist and xenophobic. And you guys are racist. No, it's not racist. No.
Here is DeSantis.
Also, I will say, and I don't know what Biden's going to do, but we cannot accept people from Gaza into this country as refugees. I am not going to do that. If you look at how they behave, not all of them are Hamas, but they are all anti-Semitic. None of them believe in Israel's right to exist. None of the Arab states are willing to take, any of them. The Arab states should be taking them if you have refugees. You don't fly people and import them into the United States of America. So we're going to be very strong on that. And I think about our country, you see these demonstrations supporting Hamas in the United States of America. How did we get to the point where people are out there doing that? You get reports of babies being murdered, all this other stuff, and your first instinct is to go out and praise the terrorists who perpetrated that. You have students at Harvard signing letters praising Hamas for doing it. We've got some serious problems in this country. We've allowed a lot of these problems to fester, but my view is very simple. If you don't like this country, if you hate America, you should not come to this country. We've got to start being smart about this.
And Pamela has a good point. They don't just hate Jewish people. They also hate Christian people too. You're right.
Oh yeah. We're like next in line.
They just hate Americans. They just hate us, period. Yeah.
And how did the fact that they're capturing or apprehending Iranians on our southern border, that is, you still have to fly. I mean, these people are coming. This is so by design at this point. And this, if you want to say that, if you want to pretend that Iran's not funding that they're not sending some of their worst people to the southern border because they know they can just hop right in, no problem. I mean, this is crazy. What Biden is allowing to happen there.
Right. And
Absolutely
then
nuts.
you got Christopher Wray telling us just now, hey, you may want to be on the lookout for some stuff happening in the near future. You may just want to be on the lookout.
Yeah.
You know, just now. Okay.
God.
Thanks, FBI. We appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Just now.
I know in the past, whenever we've mentioned Laura Loomer and how detestable she is, we do get some questions from folks watching going, wait, why? Like, what did Laura Loomer do? So, and we try to answer that question whenever she's doing some of her crazy shit that she does. She's gone on a whole other level this weekend. She hates DeSantis, like hates him. And she's the one, for example, who insisted that Casey, his wife, is like not using her real name, even though she just goes by her middle name.
And that she didn't have cancer.
What
is that?
And now she's gone off the rails with this tweet. This is absolutely mind-boggling. So she says, "Scoop. A source sent me this photo of Ron DeSantis sitting alone with another woman who isn't his wife. Look at the way he is gazing into her eyes. Have you noticed that you don't really ever see his wife on the campaign trail as much these days?"
With this crap.
Oh my God.
I just can't. She's that shit. Can't. Can everybody just stop with this garbage?
God, this one. I mean, first of all, if you look at this woman's arm, she's a lot older. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just like looking. I'm just looking at the obvious here.
He's probably thinking about a burrito.
Right.
For real, he's probably hungry. It's just so stupid.
And the fact that she's questioning where Casey is when you have not seen Melania in public in probably, I don't know, 2 years. Just stay in your lane, Laura. Take some seats because this makes you look like a complete psychopath.
Yeah,
which you are.
Everybody just needs to stop. This is what makes our side look so stupid.
Oh my God.
And childish and ridiculous and just crazy. God.
Stuart the Brit, thank you. He says, hands up. Does anyone trust American foreign policies under the current playground government in the U.S. or mine? I know. I mean, oh my God, no. The answer is no. Alexandra, thank you. Of course, the left will call DeSantis a racist. They're unable to comprehend reality. I know. I actually saw, who was it that was, it was on one of the campuses, or it was one of the crazy big city protests where some chick that was holding a Palestinian flag and like acting like a psychopath got up in the face of someone who was carrying a State of Israel flag and called them a Nazi.
Does she have? Was she like one of those? Was she one of those from Queers for Palestine? Those are my favorite. Hi, I'm here from Queers for Palestine.
These people are insane.
Really?
Just insane.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna work for you.
Oh my God.
Nick. Yeah.
Had some surprises, and people were wondering about the title of today's podcast. Support for Israel comes from surprising places. 3 examples of that. First, we'll start off with Jake Tapper, who I thought summarized the situation happening there right now very, very well, considering it is Jake Tapper.
We have some graphic video here as we take stock of this really, really awful week. 8 days ago, terrorists with Hamas invaded Israel and slaughtered hundreds of innocent people, hundreds. Seniors at a bus stop, babies in their cribs, little kids at home, young people at a music festival. It was the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And none of this was about liberating the innocent people of Gaza from the oppression of the Israeli and Egyptian blockade of Gaza. That blockade began after Hamas, which the U.S. and EU classify as a terrorist group, after Hamas took control of Gaza in 2007 and refused to disavow violence and refused to recognize Israel. The people of Gaza indeed deserve to live without a blockade. They deserve to live in freedom and with democracy and human rights and without fear of their government, which Hamas denies them.
Yeah, Hamas denies them.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's I guess we should say wow, but I mean, should we say wow? I don't know. I mean,
Well,
I
at
feel
this
like
point, anytime, I'll give credit wherever it's due, where in whatever form it comes. And when it's Jake Tapper or when it's Eric Adams, for example, who was extraordinary in his speech, I was blown away by how strong Mayor Adams of New York City, who of course is a mess on so many other issues, in his speech to the Jewish people, he was perfection. And I don't have the whole thing because it's almost 5 minutes.
yeah, it was
Why
a
are we
really
having
it was
trouble with Facebook.
it was a
Are we having
fantastic
trouble?
yeah, I don't know. It was
I
a
don't know either.
fantastic speech, you guys. It was really great. Somebody set it to music. Do you have the one that's set to music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have like 2 minutes of it.
Mhm.
But if you have not seen the full thing, please, please, please watch the full thing. It's absolutely extraordinary. Here is part of it.
I am not going to be long. I'm going to give you 4 words. This morning on my briefing, my special counsel, Lisa Zomberg, said something that I want us all to acknowledge. We've been through some tough time, New Yorkers. We're tough people. We saw the center of our trade collapse. We saw some of the horrific actions that played out on the stage of our city and our country. But she said something that hits me to my soul. She stated to our team, we are not all right. We are not all right when we see young girls pulled from their home and dragged through the streets. We are not all right when we see grandmothers being pulled away from their homes and children shot in front of their families. We are not all right when right here in the city of New York, you have those who celebrate at the same time when the devastation is taking place in our city. We are not all right when Hamas believes that they are fighting on behalf of something in their destructive, despicable action that carried out. We are not all right when we still have hostages who have not come home to their family. We are not all right. And we're not going to say we have a stiff upper lip and act like everything is fine. Everything is not fine. Israel has a right to defend himself, and that's the right that we know. Your fight is our fight. Your fight is our fight.
I appreciate the speech. I do. It was a great speech, but I just do not like him. And because here's the thing. I am one of those girls where it's like your actions speak so loudly I cannot hear what you say.
Yeah.
I am just that I couldn't get emotionally into that speech because I think his policies are shit.
They are. There's no question about it. But if I'm a
yeah.
Jewish person standing in that audience, I'm going to
you.
appreciate that the mayor is not out there protesting with the whack jobs.
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Totally get it. I absolutely do. And I get it. And I was like, wow, that's a really powerful speech. But, you know, what are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do now? So I hope that he does things that help the Jewish people in the community. And I hope that he follows through with policies or whatever that make sure that Jewish people are, you know, that they're protected and that, you know, that there are not terrorists running around the streets of New York making people feel unprotected or whatever. I just hope that, that he reflects everything that he said in that speech in his actions, because I just don't like this guy. I don't like it. I think he's full of shit. And so it's just how I feel. I'm sorry if that offends anybody. It's just how I feel about him. Cause I think everything that he gets up on a stage and he says the right things and he does the complete opposite. That's how he has governed so far. So hopefully he'll prove me wrong. Because when it comes to the border, he goes down there and gets the, you know, camera op and he's like, yeah, I'm at the border. What are you doing? You know, it's like you've been a sanctuary city, and then all the stuff on the border. He has been a complete disaster when it comes to immigration. And so it's just been a bad mayor. I just don't like him.
I just have optimism, I think, because it took all of those migrants being shipped up to him for him to get it. And now he's like, we got to fix the border. And if that's what it takes for people to open their eyes, I listen, I'm just grateful the eyes are open.
It
and
shouldn't
he
have
does
taken,
need to follow it up with
I
that.
get it, but it shouldn't have taken that. I mean, the guy's an idiot. It shouldn't have taken that for him to understand that we have a horrible immigration issue. It didn't take me to understand that. It didn't take me to have a bunch of, illegals standing on my front lawn to understand that we had a huge problem at the border.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who's in politics. So grow up. Like, I get it. Listen, it's a wonderful speech. It's just that a lot of politicians can give speeches that are wonderful and not have, good policies in place. So hopefully I don't know, the guy needs to turn himself around and instill some good policies and actually put his money where his mouth is, so to speak.
But I mean, think about how different the messaging would have been from de Blasio. I guarantee you he would have been out there in the pro-Palestine protest.
I'll give you that. It would have been a
Without
lot different.
question.
And I saw a guy yesterday on Twitter that said, I'll forgive him for masking babies because of this speech. And it's like, well, that's stupid, really. That's dumb. Why would you? I get forgiving people. It's good to have forgiveness in your heart for people, but I don't forgive him for that. I don't. It's like, I don't forgive him for masking babies because of this speech. Like, you got to you got to holistically think about people and politicians and vote accordingly, y'all. That's all I'm saying.
Even Alyssa Farah has the right viewpoint on this entire debacle. So again, this is just the third in a 3 video montage of people who surprised me over the weekend.
You cannot live in peace. You cannot live in a 21st century, prosperous, thriving place. For Palestine to be free, for the Palestinian territory to be free, they need to join in ridding themselves of Hamas. Plain and simple. If you want to see a 21st century, thriving, prosperous Palestinian territory, that's what will happen. Palestine receives billions of dollars in foreign aid from all over the world, but Hamas uses that for its terrorist efforts. The reason they don't have basic infrastructure, the reason that right now we could see their infrastructure turned off, is because Hamas is living large in Qatar. All their leaders are in Qatar right now telling the Palestinian people, you need to sit here and you need to be willing to die for the cause when we're not. War is hell. I've seen it up close. There's going to be bad things that happen, but Israel has a right to defend itself.
Well, hallelujah.
Yeah. Is she the only one on the panel? Like the only one in that group of like that coven of war hogs? Like, is she the only one saying like the things? Is she the only one? Because aren't there some Jewish people on that panel of weirdos? There's got it. I mean, Joy is Jewish, right?
Is she? That seems right.
Whoopi isn't she Jewish? I say Jewish.
I can't remember.
Air quotes. I feel like a couple of them are Jewish, so shouldn't they be saying all the things? I believe that Sunny the other day, I swear I read something that she was kind of like not so, Well,
she compared Hamas to the Proud Boys, which was like that was just batshit. That was crazy.
Well, I mean, I expect at least 99% of the people on that stage to be batshit all the time,
right?
But that's the thing is, I thought though, with a couple of Jews on that panel, that they would at least have some sense about this.
You were hoping for way too much from the View. Oh my god! But look, Alyssa,
yay! I mean, that's the thing. But then again, we've seen stuff like Bernie Sanders. What do you gotta? Who also is Jewish. What is up with these Jewish people not getting it? What is that?
Yeah, it's incredible. Robin Zecca, thank you. Robin says, why is it okay to say Israel has the right to defend itself? They have a right to exist. I think you meant, why isn't it okay, right? I think that's what you meant. Of course they have a right to exist. And of course they have the right to defend themselves. Absolutely, positively.
I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Joy is Italian, not Jewish.
Her husband is Jewish, says Mary Alice.
Is Jewish. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Bill Maher, also on the right side of this conflict, he was talking about the colleges and just how absolutely insane they have been with these protests. And he was drawing on values and talking about values. And it was just really, really interesting what he said. We got a couple clips from his show. Here he is talking about the value part.
Because it's just amazing to me that the American left, so much of it, throws their lot in with people whose values... I hope they don't share, but let's go through them. Because values and customs make a difference, okay? And the people of Gaza, by the way, if the Israelis did get rid of Hamas, they'd be doing a giant favor to the people of Gaza who hate Hamas too. But let's just go through the list. Because the Israelis look like us in most ways, values-wise. Maybe we're not doing it the right way. I don't know. Religious tolerance. That doesn't exist in Gaza. You're either Muslim or an infidel, and you better be a Muslim. Female freedom, free and fair elections, free speech, gay rights. I see these Queers for Palestine.
Did you hear their sister organization, Blacks for the KKK?
It's like...
By the way, I'm a gay man. I've lived in Berlin. This is a level of masochism that even I cannot comprehend.
Right. I mean...
You know what? I'm going to get...
can I just finish my list of pedophilia? I'll put that under don't ask. Child brides and so forth. Equality of the sexes. I'll categorize that under don't make me fucking laugh. The fact that, you know, these people think that this is where they should be aligned with, that these are the values that you support?
I think this past week has been a real important moment for a moral reckoning on the American left. Because there is a small, and I'm going to emphasize that, a very small but growing and extremely loud faction on the American left that has revealed itself.
I don't know how small anymore.
Okay, well, I mean...
It was all over. It was...
Well, we just had a conversation about the algorithm.
Right. It wasn't very small. Pretty
They
big.
are very loud.
They're
very
it's
loud.
A lot bigger than you think, buddy. Yep.
Gosh.
Yeah. Lots of anti-Semites over there. It's kind of shocking to you, isn't it? Yeah. They don't like it.
Facebook is not showing our feed right now. Somebody said that we've been booted off of Facebook, so they must not
Really?
like some of the stuff that we're saying.
Really?
But
Interesting.
we're still in other places. There was another moment there. So you heard from one of the guests in that clip. The other guest is a lefty. And so he was one of those people that was being like, well, but there's context and nuance. We need to consider the context and nuance. And Bill Maher shut that shit down.
I will say that does not mean we can't have a conversation about the deeper context here. We have to have that conversation. That does not justify in any way what happened. You said there's a siege on Gaza. That's right. There has also been a blockade since 2007. That is part of this context. Again, not a justification, never a justification.
Well, a blockade from a land they gave back.
Yeah.
They
withdrew
gave back.
Right.
Gaza is
well,
not
they withdrew their
occupied.
forces and settlements from within Gaza.
Okay, but the reason there's a blockade is to stop shit like this from happening.
No, I agree with that.
That's the whole point.
It was nice to hear the applause on that.
Yeah.
I mean, at least there's some sensible people in the audience. So that's good. Yeah.
Surprising.
Man, Bill Maher he has sucked down a pink pill at least. There is a pink pill that he has taken. And he's on his way.
He's just licking it at this point.
I think
he's not
he's
swallowed.
It's like a lozenge. It's like a constant lozenge he has in there, you guys.
Right.
He's sucking on it. He's thinking about it.
Stuart the Brit, thank you. He says, London Major, most of the British government defended Hamas coming to a neighborhood near you in England. Can you believe it? I was stunned to see how many people were out in the streets in London supporting Hamas. It was extraordinary. He says next year, it's likely the new Prime Minister of England will be a lawyer who worked to keep Hamas and terrorists out of prison, and they gave him a knighthood for his work. Buckle up.
That is just not okay.
Wow.
What in the world?
Yeah, I don't know. Meanwhile, Trump received some deserved, I think, backlash for his initial comments about what happened in Israel, because he decided that the day or the weekend of the attacks was an appropriate time to criticize Netanyahu for congratulating Biden on his victory. He's still mad about that. And criticizing Netanyahu in the worst possible time ever to criticize a leader that's going through this right now. That's what Trump decided to do. Megyn Kelly was not happy about that, and neither was Ben Shapiro. I've got both of them talking about that here.
No question he attacked Bibi at a time of most, incredible stress and vulnerability for Netanyahu. And when he doesn't need it, like Trump didn't need to do it. Netanyahu didn't need to hear it. Here it is. It's, of course, because Trump was mad that Netanyahu said Biden won and Trump lost the presidential election. So Trump starts to bring up how while the Israelis helped us find Soleimani before we bombed him, I guess on the eve of that bombing, they didn't want to help, which I think is the first we've learned of this. But in any event, here it is in SOT 7.
I'll never forget that Bibi Netanyahu let us down. That was a very terrible thing. So we were disappointed by that, very disappointed, but we did the job ourselves, and it was absolute precision, magnificent, beautiful job. And then Bibi tried to take credit for it. That wasn't good. That didn't make me feel too good, but that's all right.
I mean, honestly, Smug, the problem is everything is about him. Everything relates back to him.
Always. And forever.
Just
and
not the week to do it. Just don't do that. Just
Can you
don't. And it's
just
not. Listen,
refrain?
I don't want to hear that this is a bash Trump thing. Like seriously, not read the freaking room this week. It's not the week to do this shit. Just not. I cannot.
Oh my God.
With this.
Well,
My
and there was that, and then there were the comments about Hezbollah being smart, which I think we mentioned. And so Ben Shapiro was absolutely apoplectic about this. I did cut out the part where he plays Trump speaking again, because you just saw it. But here are two clips. I'm just going to let them run together, and you'll see where there's a break. And in that break, he played the same clip that Megyn just did. Here it is.
Yesterday, he chose to bizarrely attempt to humiliate the current prime minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, because he was given bizarre information that after his loss in the 2020 election, that Netanyahu rushed to congratulate Biden, which of course is not true. He's one of the last world leaders actually to congratulate Biden. In any case, here was Donald Trump going after Netanyahu personally in the middle of a war and talking about how Hezbollah is smart for attacking from the north, which is weird since there is literally no other place that Hezbollah could attack from. They're located in the north of Israel. That's like suggesting that Mexico would be smart if they attacked America from the south. Like, where else would they attack from? They're south of us. Like, what? Here we go. What? All right. I mean, okay. And President Trump, again, nothing but gratitude for President Trump as a Jew and as an American, nothing but gratitude for President Trump. I wish you were president right now. But the fact of the matter is that that is bizarre stuff. And attacking the prime minister in a current time of war with a unity government in Israel, by the way, with a bunch of people who disagree, but they do agree on the survival of the Jewish state, is a very bizarre move.
And I think, listen, I think part of it is like if there's any praise that Netanyahu gives the current president, that gives Biden, if he gives Biden any praise at all, he gets like a little, bristly about that. And like I said earlier in the broadcast, and I think I've said it before, Netanyahu is going to just be nice. He's going to play nice with whoever the American president is.
Yeah.
He's going to do that. He knows how to politic. That man.
Yes.
Netanyahu has been a politician forever, and he's going to play nice with any American president because that is what he does. He's just going to do that. He's going to make sure that we always have it. He always has an ally in America, and he's just good at his job. He's like the quintessential politician dude, and he knows how to play. He knows how to do it. He's just that guy. And if you guys recall, I think it was like a week or two ago, there was that clip where that lady was trying to bait him into talking crap about Trump. You remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
right.
And
he wasn't having it.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I'm not doing it. Okay. I'm not going to talk trash about Trump. I'm not going to talk trash about Biden. I'm not talking trash about anybody that's American. I'm not doing it. I'm going to be a nice guy. I'm always going to be politically correct when it comes to America because they are my allies. And this is what I do, and it's diplomacy, right? This is what I do.
I was going to say, yeah, it's not even politically correct. It's just diplomatic. He just knows how to have good relations.
He's
with
good
whoever
guy.
is in charge.
It's how he does, and he's always going to be that way because he is Bibi and he is bomb, and that is how he does.
And there's it's just another one of those unforced errors by Trump. He's constantly stepping on his own feet. And once the backlash happened, and there was a lot, it was swift and fierce. He then took to Truth Social to say this, which that's great. Hashtag I stand with Israel. Hashtag I stand with Bibi. And I would echo what Ben Shapiro said, which is, man, I sure would prefer him being president right now.
Totally.
And he did more for Israel than almost any other president ever. And that should be recognized. But why is he so hell-bent on letting his ego take over everything all the freaking time?
I agree.
This is not about him. And he makes everything, to Megyn's point, he makes everything about him. And it's just
say nothing.
God.
Just say nothing. If you're going to start getting to like some sort of a cutting BB down or saying that you're disappointed in him, like this is just not the week. This is not the week to do it. Maybe not this week.
Hold off for just
just a couple months. Could you just let that go? Because good Lord. Yeah.
We have to show Biden's fall, or his almost fall. So he was at some sort of event, and we actually have two different angles to show this from, because he does this thing where he trips up the stairs as he's climbing them. He trips up. He doesn't trip down them. He trips up them. And then because he catches himself before he falls, he does this weird thing where he goes
like, ta-da!
And I was like, did he really do that? And then, because there's two angles, so you will see both of them. I'll just let them run back to back. What in the world?
He's like, jazz hands. He should just do jazz hands at the end of it. Yeah. That's what he should do.
Oh my God.
Somebody said Victoria said he stuck the landing.
Exactly.
Such an idiot, this guy.
He also gave some ridiculous speech in which he said ridiculous things, including apparently, now he's going to need to say what restaurant this happened at, but he is suggesting that in America currently, today, in these times that we are currently in, you as a gay person are being kicked out of restaurants.
You can't go to
for being
McDonald's.
gay.
You can't go to McDonald's. McDonald's won't let you in. You could not get a Big Mac because you're gay. All right. You gay. Is Luke gay? Who's gay?
I think so.
Are you gay,
right?
Luke?
I'm
Luke,
sorry
you're
if
gay,
you're not.
right?
I mean, I'm actually sorry that you are, but like, I'm sorry if we're saying that
if you're gay, we're
and
really
not.
sorry that you are. But I could have sworn he said he was gay.
I think he's gay.
I need to know right now, like what restaurants you've been kicked out of. Like, which ones you've been kicked out? I need to know.
Yeah, because I don't think this is happening. So yeah, Luke says Luke is gay.
Yeah. Luke is gay. Third person. Yes. And I need to know, like, what restaurants. I need to know if this is true. We can't.
He said that shit does not happen. Well, Luke, then you need to listen to Joe Biden, because this is happening.
It's happening.
I apologize for having to repeat it. When a person can be married in the morning and thrown out of a restaurant for being gay in the afternoon, something is still fundamentally wrong in this country. And that still exists.
You can be married in the morning and then kicked out of a restaurant. You're kicked out of TGI Fridays in the afternoon. Seriously, that guy that is like covered in flair is like, you're gay? Get out. GTFO, gay person. Gay Luke, get out. Get out.
I mean, what?
And
and
this is
then,
happening.
again, inability to read the room. Biden decided to get on a soapbox about gun control and suggesting now, of all times, that people should not have 100 rounds in a chamber. He actually said that. Listen.
No excuse. Who in God's name needs a weapon with 100 rounds in a chamber? The weapon's only meant for one thing, to kill people.
Well, listen, we saw over the weekend. I need all the rounds. All the rounds.
I
All
would
of
like
them.
all the rounds. I don't think 100 are going to fit in a chamber.
No, they're not going to fit in a chamber, but I need every single round that I can get. If somebody's parachuting onto my property, oh, I need the rounds. I need the AR-15s. I want all the guns, every single gun, and all the rounds. Somebody's saying this is an old clip.
Sales.
Listen, I don't know if it's an old clip or not. I honestly think that if this is even if it is an old clip, this was floating around this weekend.
Yeah.
They were floating this around. I don't know, because I mentioned that to Mock when we were doing pre-show. I'm like, I don't know. I've heard him say this before, but if he said it before and he's saying it again, it was like some human rights coalition thing. I don't know. All I know is that he has said it, and it's absurd. Both
completely absurd.
And after this weekend, this needs to make the rounds again, especially the gun thing. People need to understand that they do need AR-15s. They
Absolutely
do need them, and all the rounds.
Yeah, you can't have Christopher Wray warning everybody about lone wolves and then at the same time be like, you guys don't need guns.
You don't need guns. You don't need rounds. You don't need AR-15s. You don't need assault weapons. Okay.
Robin Brooks, thank you. Robin says, if the leaders of Hamas are in Qatar, how are they going to get to them? That's where the head of the octopus is. I know. It makes me so angry that there's even anybody harboring these people, but there are, and there needs to be some sort of a plan about that.
We don't have plans. We don't even have a plan to get a speaker of the House. Plans.
Yeah, that's a whole thing that's still happening. Oh my God. Kamala, the gift that keeps on giving. I couldn't believe it when there were 2 clips from just the last few days in which she gives 3 of her most famous things all over again. We get the Venn diagrams. We get eating no for breakfast. We get unburdening. We get all of it. All of it.
For the low price of her salary. For the low price. Plus a pension, you guys.
These are 2 different clips, but I'm going to play them together just because it's just like the best hits. It's her greatest hits all in one weekend, you guys.
And that's why community is so important and coalition is so important. So here's I think at this point a well-known secret about me. I love Venn diagrams. I love Venn diagrams. And whenever I am presented with kind of like, this is complicated, I always wonder, is there a Venn diagram to figure this stuff out?
And we love that about you.
Right?
The interpreter.
So don't hear no.
Oh, yeah.
I eat no for breakfast. Don't hear no. Always believe in what can be, unburdened by what has been.
You guys, everybody's like, how do I mute this? How do I mute it? Where are the yellow buses?
Oh my God. It's just unreal.
She is a colossal idiot.
So dumb.
Not with her. This is the thing. Did you see that when they were doing all the stuff it's in the war room with that little, what do they call it? It's not the war room.
The situation room?
That. They were all in the situation room. God, it's like, I feel like we need a situation room, you and I.
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I like situations and rooms.
It would have so many snacks, you guys. So many snacks. Anyways, but they were in the situation room in the White House or whatever, and she wasn't there for this. Did you see that? She was calling in like via satellite, and then she was doing all this stuff and being on college campuses and talking about unburdening the burden, which has never been, and whatnot. That's what she was doing because they hate her so much. Like they don't want her to be in the situation. Can you imagine her being in a situation room and saying all those stupid ass things? That's what she would be doing.
Yeah.
But she wasn't there. The vice president of the United States was not in the situation room this week. Can you imagine?
She's just such a moron.
Insufferable.
All right, last group of videos, and then we'll get to whack and some talks. Leon Panetta was interviewed by Bret Baier, and he was asked about that famous letter that 51, I think, CIA, FBI people had signed off saying, this Hunter Biden laptop thing is a total hoax. It's not even real. It's like completely not confirmed. This is Russian propaganda. So Bret Baier, since he was interviewing him, thought, I can't let you go without addressing this. Now that we know this is absolutely a real laptop, do you have any regrets? And credit goes to Brett Baier for really pushing on this. Watch.
Sure, I'd be remiss. Obviously, the House is in chaos as they try to find a speaker, but they're investigating still the Hunter Biden situation. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about that letter you signed on to from former intelligence officials saying that the laptop and the emails had all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. Obviously, the New York Post and others saying the Hunter Biden laptop letter was the real disinformation all along. That letter was used in the debate. I haven't asked you this, but do you have regrets about that now looking back, knowing what you know now?
Well, you know, Brett, look, I was extremely concerned about Russian interference and misinformation. And we all know it. Intelligence agencies discovered that Russia had continued to push disinformation across the board. And my concern was to kind of alert the public to be aware that these disinformation efforts went on. And frankly, I haven't seen any evidence from any intelligence agency that that was not the case.
Oh my God!
You don't think that it was real?
I think that disinformation is involved here. I think Russian disinformation is part of what we're seeing everywhere. I don't trust the Russians, and that's exactly why I was concerned that the public not trust the Russians either.
I don't want to dwell on this because we have bigger things to talk about and bigger urgency.
Yeah.
But obviously Hunter Biden said it was his laptop, and this investigation continues. So you don't have any regrets about doing what you did?
No, I don't have any regrets about not trusting the Russians.
Okay.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, we have bigger.
What the hell? I'm sorry. I was actually trying to just block this because that is just spam.
I mean,
All right, I'm sorry. Go
we
ahead.
have bigger things to talk about, like your mental health crisis, Leon. He's insane. That guy's
Totally insane. Yeah, it's totally still Russian I love that Brett was like, okay, but Hunter, it is Hunter's laptop.
He
right?
said it was. He admitted. He actually said, "Hi, it's me."
And he's
It's
suing
my
people
laptop."
for releasing it.
Right.
So you wouldn't do that if it wasn't yours.
Yeah, exactly, Leon. What? How do you explain that?
Oh my
well,
God.
I mean, I don't trust the Russians. I don't
And
trust them, Brett.
I
don't
signed that just so people wouldn't trust the Russians.
Yeah, people need to
Why?
watch out for those crazy Russians.
Oh my
You're
God.
the crazy one. You're crazy. These people. Wow, it's like he is the guy who will never ask for directions. You know what I mean? Like you're driving down the road, you're like, "We're lost, dude. We're lost." No, we're not lost.
It's
We're
fine. I
not.
got this. I got it.
No, we're good. No, we're in a completely different state. We're a whole different. We're not even in the right state. No, we're fine. We don't need to ask for directions. Oh my God, I cannot. This guy.
I know, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Alexandra, thank you. She says 2A is a human right. Stockpile the ammo. No doubt about it.
All the ammo.
You know that Eric Swalwell had himself a really good weekend this weekend because he is no longer the subject of all of the accusations of farting on air.
Oh my God.
That has
Fartgate.
moved to AOC, who in a diatribe that we played last week and did not pick up on the fart as it took place in real time. A lot of people did. And somebody amazing on the internet, like did one of those like infrared thermo, whatever, like camera angles where you can see body heat and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my God, they picked up on the actual heat of the fart?
Yes. And
It's
the sound.
amazing.
So they isolated it just to that moment. It's like a 6-second clip. So you will not only hear it, but you will also see
amazing.
it.
Here we go.
Mr. Secretary, thank you. We
Bye.
appreciate
Bye,
the
Leon.
time.
You crazy old
Good to
dude.
be with
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye, Leon.
In the names of victims who do not want their tragedy used to justify.
I did that eye roll, not.
I am dying. That is awesome. That is now Ron is saying that is fake infrared. I'm sorry. Stop it. Stop it. That is not fart propaganda that we are putting out to the world.
I mean, the infrared might be fake, but apparently a lot of people heard it. And so someone put it into that format. So you could see the moment as well as hear it.
Everybody needs to see that. You guys need to spread that far and wide. Fantastic. Somebody put it to music.
Oh my God, I love that.
I love that
so
person. That person needs to be friends with us immediately. Fartgate, you guys. What is it with liberals and farting on camera? What is it?
I don't know, man. I do not know.
What are they eating? Are they all vegans?
Probably.
Yeah, that's
Probably.
what it is. They're all vegans, you guys. Stop with the too many greens. Too many.
Also, there is all kinds of drama with Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. I know that this is like super frivolous and nobody should care, but they are constantly putting themselves in the news. And so everybody's talking about what a complete simp Will Smith is right now because Jada Pinkett, I guess, wrote a book and apparently they've all been lying to us and they haven't actually been living together as husband and wife in over 7 years. So you guys remember that when they went to the Oscars together and then there was the big slap, right? The famous slap. They were totally pretending. And when like Will Smith was like, keep my wife's name out your mouth or whatever he said.
Yeah.
They have not, she says in her new book and in all these interviews, they have not referred to each other as husband and wife in years. And so I don't know what has possessed her to diss him in the way that she has. But you're going to see her like talk about that incident. And as a result of her like putting his most embarrassing moment on display, he is praising her even still. Like his response to this was to say, wow, she's amazing. Like, I just didn't even know how amazing she is. They are the most psychotic couple ever. Here she is talking about that incident.
I did that eye roll, not so much for me. And I think this is really important, but the fact that there could be a jab at alopecia.
Will then went on a profane tirade warning Chris not to mention his wife's name. Jada couldn't believe what she was hearing.
What is going on? Now, first of all, I'm really shocked because, mind you, I'm not there. We haven't called each other husband and wife in a long time. But I'm like, what is going on right now?
My wife's name
out of your mouth, right? And I'm like, but now I'm really worried for Will because I don't know what's going on.
What viewers did not see at the time, while Oscar clips were being shown, was Chris Rock leaning over the stage to talk to Jada.
And Chris looks to me and he says, Jada, I meant no harm. Now, I'm just out of it because I'm really worried about
And
Will.
what's Will doing? He's just sitting there?
And Will's still talking. He's like, because now he's mad because Chris is talking to me. And I go, Chris, this is about some old shit. That's all I could think to say, right? And I couldn't really take in his apology.
How unusual for Will, a guy who, I mean, on that kind of stage to do something so insane.
Absolutely.
It's totally out of character.
It's not him whatsoever.
And he's praising her for humiliating him, essentially.
Yeah, these people are just in a whole different world.
Oh my God.
They haven't lived together in 7 years. I mean, just these people are
But she also said, you know what? I probably will go back to him because he's getting old and is going to need me to take care of him because I'm staying really young. She also said that.
Okay.
I mean,
you know, she cheated on him with one of their son's friends.
Yeah. She's gross.
She's
that
so
couple
gross.
is disgusting. Oh my God.
They are. They just have all the problems. I mean, oh my God. It's just not okay. None of it's
I
okay.
know.
And their kids, like their kids don't really seem okay.
Well, their kids are apparently relieved that this is coming out because now they don't have to lie for their parents anymore. They've apparently been in that position where they've been forced to lie. And now they're like, okay, well, cat's out of the bag. We can say that they're not together. I mean, what a thing to ask of your kids too,
But
to keep up this charade.
Remember when you used to think that Will Smith was kind of together and cool? Like there was a time, there were a couple years there where you're like, well, that guy seems pretty cool and normal.
He's
and
not.
Wah, 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 wah.
Now, before we get to whack, I have one other video that ties back to a talk that we showed last Friday. Do you guys remember that we showed that? I think it was a golden retriever who was really, really, really wanting a treat. And so the owner kept saying, sit, lay down, and the dog would keep rolling over, and Rockstar was doing the voiceover. You remember?
Yes. Yes.
And this dog was like, roll over, roll over. He just could not keep it together. So one of our audience members, Karen Green, sent a video that she made with her dog right after she saw that.
Okay, Toby, let's show Mock and Daisy how much smarter you are than that golden retriever we saw on the show today, okay? Are you ready? Sit. Sit. Good boy. Lie down.
Oh my God.
Lie down.
So cute.
Oh, just lie down. Just a lie down. No roll over. Ready? Sit. Lie down. Oh, no, just the lie down part. Ready? Good boy. Sit.
Oh my God.
One more time. Lie down. Lie down.
What, sweetheart. He's just not gonna let. He's like, I'm gonna roll over every single time. Every single time.
Every single
time. Okay.
Oh my God. Michelle Boyd, thank you. Michelle says AOC needs to be fined for the fart as it is detrimental to the atmosphere.
It is. It's ozone stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Alexandra, thank you. Liberals can now use their own gas to arm themselves, especially AOC, since she doesn't need it for her car.
Oh my God.
And Leslie L, thank you. Why am I waiting for Jada to say what has been unburdened? Yes. They are pretty similar. All right. Now it is time for whack.
Okay, so this is kind of just a funny whack, you guys. So did you know that female frogs fake their deaths to avoid sex? It's true. I didn't know this. I was yesterday years old when I learned this, but experts previously believed that female frogs weren't able to fend off unwanted male attention in the form of intimidation, harassment, or even forced sex that could potentially lead to the physical attachment of male frogs to females called amplexing. That's what it's called. So it's a mating behavior, but it can result in death for the female frogs, they noted. But to the surprise of researchers from the Natural History Museum of Berlin, female frogs have tactics for escape. So they actually fake their deaths. That's say that
awesome.
Yeah. So if they don't want to do the deed, they can do this thing called tonic immobility, and they stiffen their limbs. There's they look like sort of like fainting goats, and it looks like they're dead. I mean, I feel like that's a little extreme. If you don't want to, I mean, you could just say I have a headache or something. But they fake their death. That's just what
because those male frogs apparently they don't take no for an answer, if you know what I'm saying.
No,
they're very
don't.
rapey.
They do. They get up on there and they just do their frog business,
And
But
sometimes they have mating balls where it's like a pylon. It's like a gang rape of frogs.
Yeah, that's right. In the real world, we often observe the formation of mating balls, but also that females can more easily dive away because there's more structure and places to hide, is what they're saying. But frogs are, I didn't realize frogs were so matey.
Frogs have some issues, man.
They do. They have some issues, but I also didn't know that female. So if you ever see like in the wild, female frogs just looking like, that's what they're doing. But you're like, you'll be like, oh yeah, it's a female frog, and she's faking death because she doesn't want to have sex with her.
See, it sounds extreme, but like you got to do what you got to do, you know?
I didn't know that. I just didn't know that. So sometimes, you may want to just see in the wild, if you ever see a fainting frog, that's what she's doing. You'll be like, oh, it's a chick. That's a chick frog. May not be dead. Don't assume it's dead.
It is time for some My Pillow Toks, and there's great news because now the My Pillow 2.0, the one that's like all temperature control-y, the one that's like made of these super high-tech threads which keep you cool. Big sale, 50% off the queen size My Pillow 2.0 version when you go to mypillow.com/chicks. Enter code chicks. You're going to get your 50% off the My Pillow 2.0 version. That's amazing. Those things are amazing. They feel so good. I know you even use them without a pillowcase because I just like it.
I totally do. I love those because they're super like satiny kind of.
Yeah.
They're like, they have like a sateen thing on them. And also we should be helping Mike Lindell because he's like,
and he's running out of
Lindell.
money, you guys. He can't pay his lawyers.
I
So
know, right?
if you could
I
just
know.
help
Poor
a brother
guy.
out. It's
Poor dude.
mypillow.com/chicks and then use code chicks. All right. Speaking of frogs, imagine, if you will, this is your toilet.
I cannot
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
What?
Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys.
How does it
No,
even
I'm not used to this
happen?
toilet. I'm so sorry.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
Listen, none of them are faking death. So
No,
good for
they were
them.
all like,
good for them. They're all like, listen, let's do it. Yeah.
I mean, isn't that just
I
crazy?
understand how that happens.
Yeah, I mean, they're very cute, but like I would not want that in my home.
I don't want that in
So-
my home either. Mm-mm.
Ashley West, thank you. Ashley says, happy to catch the end live. Thanks for everything you do. Well, thank you, Ashley. And I'm glad that you got to catch some. You're just in time for some more talks. There is a woman, I can't remember what state she's in, but she lives in like the middle of a woods. We've shown her before where she like has these bears that come up to her front doorstep, and
Yeah.
she has trained to some degree the mama bear. Like this mama bear knows how to close the door, knows how to sit, and it's extraordinary. So a couple of different videos from her that I saw over the weekend. For example, she went out to her car to just grab something really quick, left the front door open. Here's what happened.
Yeah, this is what I get for leaving my door open. Come
You
here.
should probably not keep it open.
Out.
Oh my God.
And that bear's like, sorry, I just wanted to,
Do you have any snacks?
watch Seinfeld.
Yeah, this
Oh
is
my
what I get.
God.
And like that bear is just like completely fine with her. And so are all of the babies.
Oh my.
They're like, hey, can we have this rug? Can we have
Yeah,
that?
I'd be like, yeah, just take it. Take it. Bye. Take it.
Aren't they so precious?
They are pretty cute. God,
Oh
there's
my
gonna
God,
be
I
a
love them
lot of
so
them
much.
when they grow up. There's like a lot of big bears
Mama
coming her
said.
way.
And she's telling that mama to sit.
Mama set.
Oh my God. That baby's like, I'm coming in. I am coming in there. You have snacks. And you're gonna be a snack one day.
Mama set.
And that mama sit.
Who's my good girl? Good girl.
What in the
Good
world?
Wow.
Good girl.
She obviously gives that animal food. She gives that
I
mama
want
lots of
them.
food.
I want all of them.
God.
This woman speaks for so many people. I'm so glad that someone finally took to TikTok to complain about a website issue that affects so many websites. I love this woman. She has got it exactly right.
This is just a public service announcement to any brands that have a website that do this. If I'm on your website, all right, and I'm scrolling through. First of all, the continual scroll for a see all should be mandatory.
Yes.
I shouldn't have to click page 1, 2, 3, and 4. No, I want to scroll. Just keep scrolling. Don't just get rid of the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just keep scrolling. Unless it's a
hate
big
that too.
chunky one, then fine. Anyway, that's my first point. If I am scrolling through and I find a product and I think, do you know what? Actually, that might fit into my life. Let's take a closer look. Click on it. No, not for me. Not the dimensions I thought it was going to be. Actually, in other pictures, not for me. If I back out of that and you take me back to the top again, when I'm 3 full scrolls down, 4,
Oh my
5,
God, I
6 scrolls down,
hate that.
you've lost me.
Yep.
You've lost me as a consumer.
Yep.
You're telling me that in 2023, you don't have the appropriate technology and coding for your website that you can take the customer back to where they were when they back out.
It's true. She's so right.
And I tell you now, if you're using it as a marketing tool so that we have to scroll back through just in case we see something and go, oh, actually, I scrolled past that earlier, but now I'm starting to like it. It doesn't work. I'm stubborn. I'm a Gemini. I'll back out of that website faster than you've seen a toddler run when you ask them what's in their mouth.
So true. It's very, very true.
Oh my God, I love it.
You don't even have to be a Gemini.
You don't.
Yeah,
you don't.
You're out of there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a company that sells anything, you gotta get people back to where they were. You gotta. You gotta.
True.
Imagine seeing this in a
Just
McDonald's.
when you think that the coast is clear, there in the road is a white-tailed deer. Them deer, they're here. Then just
Bless his heart, he's eating tissue paper. He doesn't want that.
Well, when my husband first saw that, he was like, "Oh no, he's so hungry, he's eating tissue." But then he was like, "Wait a minute, that is a fat deer." So then he wasn't feeling.
He probably
so bad.
had been in that McDonald's for a while, and he had been eating some fries and stuff. It's been a while.
Okay, last one, and this is pretty extraordinary. The caption reads, "I'm so glad that this beautiful moment was caught on camera."
Or maybe there's something dead on it.
I love that. That was so great.
It was a beautiful moment, you guys.
It was. It was beautiful.
It was a beautiful moment.
They spit. I don't know if you guys knew that.
I told
Okay.
you we'd be long today, so
I am not going to get astered. I'm not, because there's another dog that is in the, I say another dog, Coda's in his crate. If I get astered, it's going to be mass chaos in here because Coda is in the crate. So I'm going to let him do double flaps tomorrow. We'll just let everybody double flap tomorrow. So we're just going to bring it in today. And then she'll provide all the flaps tomorrow. We've gone kind of long.
Yeah.
Kind of long.
I told
today.
you guys. I
It's gonna be a
told
long
you.
show. It was a long show. We definitely come through on our promises, don't we?
That's right.
You guys.
That's the one. It's the one time that I actually called it right. Normally, I'm like, "Oh, it's going to be a short show." And
Yeah,
then we go
and
long
it's
and-
always long. It's always longer than what she thinks it's going to be. Okay, you guys have a wonderful Monday, and we will talk to you tomorrow.